understand that Prabhupada is mentioning here, what is the work of Maya? As soon as the living entity forgets his real constitutional position of eternal servitorship to the Lord and wants instead to enjoy by himself by sense gratification, he is captured by Maya. This capture by Maya is the consciousness of false identification with the body and attachment for the possessions of this body. So how Maya captures us? Because of our desire, we create false identification with body and we become attached to the body and the possessions of this body. So we can also see how identity is what determines our happiness. Many times in the preaching, Prabhupada many times tells that we have to broaden our consciousness. If you are thinking, I am the body, there will be more suffering. If you are thinking, I am the country, there will be a little more or little less suffering. But if you think, I belong to this world, there will be little less suffering. And if you think, I am part and parcel of Krishna, I am eternal and all others are also eternal, the suffering will be. So to the degree we broaden our consciousness, to that degree the suffering will also get reduced. It is very easy to understand sometimes for our boys who are attached to playing cricket in any World Cup competition. If you identify you are an Indian, then if some other country loses, then we become sad. But if you think I belong to the world, any country wins, then you are always equipoised. Same way, if you think I am a human being. So to the degree we think that to the degree we limit our identity to my body, myself, that way, then there is always suffering. And that determines what our happiness is. In the first year when devotees came to preach, I think Chakrapani Krishna Prabhu, he had come and one day he took my mobile and he was about to throw it down. Then I was saying, Prabhuji, why? Then he said, I'm not doing anything to you. Why are you feeling so much disturbed? Prabhuji, but it is my mobile. Then after some time he threw his mobile down. I didn't feel any thing. So he said that both the times I never did anything to you, but once you are getting affected, the other time you are not getting affected. Why? Because of the strong identification. So you can see that material identification means it is carrying a big burden on our head. Because first of all, this world is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. There is misery, padam padam edvipatam natesham. So already my body, that is the first level of identification. That gives me lot of suffering. That gives me lot of anxiety. And on top of that, we say, I am ready to maintain and take care of another 100 people who are also subject to this dukkhalayam ashashvatam, padam padam yadvipatam natesham. So how much anxiety one has to go through? Something happens to my child, something happens to my wife, something happens to the employees of my organization. So there is more and more suffering to the degree we identify with this world. So our identity creates lot of it defines what our happiness is, what our suffering is. We have also heard that story where once there was a zamindar who possessed a big home, and suddenly it was about to be it was burning on fire, and then the zamindar became very much in anxiety, and he started calling out for help. He started taking water to put off the Jai Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki Jai, Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Lakshmi Narasimha Ananta Bhagwan ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So as soon as he saw that thing on fire, immediately he started taking water, trying to put off the fire, called for help from all the friends, etc. Then suddenly his eldest son came and he said, why are you so much worried? We have already sold this property to somebody else last week. And immediately his anxiety went away. That same building is there on fire, but now he is no more anxious. And then the second child immediately came and said, no, the agreement is not signed, it is still our property. And again he started lamenting and was in anxiety. So this is how funny in this world the attachments are. The object is the same, the things are same, but based on our identity, sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are sad. So one can see how it is like a drama being played, and we are like jokers, sometimes happy for something, sometimes sad for something. And the funny part is we never possess it throughout. When we came, came empty handed. When we go also, but we create that identification, and then we are lamenting and sometimes happy, like that. So we can see from this. And Srila Prabhupada in the lecture was very nicely narrating how this is strongly connected to that Shrimad Bhagavatam 5.5.8, where it is said the root cause of material existence, Maituni, what is that shloka? That Jana Sutapta Vittair Pumsastri Maitune Bhaver Etad Grant Ato Kshetra Tanasya Moham Aham Mameti. So there Prabhupada is saying that the whole material existence begins with the man and the woman coming together, Pumsa Striya, and for the purpose of Maituna. And then what happens? The moment they come together, Hridaya Granthi, they become very strongly attached, because one thinks she is satisfying me, and the other thinks he is satisfying me. So it's like both are trying to. This is the life of a Graha Medi, where both are trying to satisfy each one's senses, and therefore they become very attached. Okay, I am able to get enjoyment, she is also attached to that. And the moment there is wanting to enjoy sexual pleasure, Prabhupada says, there must be a private place, because that is the difference between a human and animal. Animal can do it on the street, but we may have to build a house. So then there is a need for kshetra. And then once there is a house, and there is wife and the husband, they would want to increase their level of happiness. Then there is the requirement for a child. It is said, Putra Heenam Grihashunyam. Prabhupada said there in Chanakya's statements, Putra Heena Grihashunyam. So without Putra or children, Graha is Shunya. Then they think, okay, let me have a child. And the moment they get married, their family expands. That the wife's family becomes also part of husband's family becomes part of wife's family. So there is all relatives, apta, then mitra, wife's friends becomes husband's friends, and husband's friends becomes wife's friends. So there is sutta, apta, and all this. So increase of identification and more relationships, and that creates more and more bondage, because as I told, already one person suffering is so much. Now we are identifying all these people are my suffering. And on the other part, in our this one, we identify with so many others. We identify with cinema stars. Each one has one favorite cinema star, one favorite sports star. Now if that sports star loses, we feel upset. When that cinema star movie is a flop, then we feel. So how much increase of anxiety and suffering we take because of this wrong thing. And when once energy and consciousness goes in all these directions, where is the time to focus on Krishna? That is the fault of this Kali Yuga. With this mobile, almost everything is available. The news all over the world, whatever we are attached to, whether sports, movie, everything. So much is coming. And then when we go on thinking about all this, then there is no time to focus on going back to Krishna. I'm speaking this for myself, because with the smartphone, it is making us more dull in Krishna consciousness. That is, if we are not careful on how to use it. So that way. So Prabhupada was mentioning that. I will share some more things. So, and Prabhupada was also saying that we know that we are permanent. We are not temporary. But this material world is temporary. Why should we identify ourselves with something temporary and be miserable? Okay. Yes. And you will not be allowed to stay in these circumstances. So Prabhupada is saying why we should not be attached to these things, because the first reason, why we should not be attached to material things is, first is it is temporary. Although I am trying to maintain this, but you will not be allowed to stay with it permanently. You will be kicked out. Either the objects will be taken away from you, or you will be taken away from the objects. So one of the two things is going to happen. So why should you be so much attached to these things? Like President, there was President Nixon, very powerful in that position, but after some time he was kicked out. So therefore one should not identify with these temporary designations, as it has no value. They are all temporary. That way Prabhupada is saying. And the other reasons why we should not be attached to matter, some of the things that we can recollect in our mind and make sure that we use our intelligence to fight against the mind when mind proposes, is because the amount of hard work needed to get material happiness is so much, but the happiness that we get is very little. For example, if we want to buy a home, nowadays EMI is there, but still that home is not our own home. But in 30 years or 20 years, one tries to pay the loan, and finally it becomes his home. And by then he's almost 60 years, and then 5 years he's out of the world only. So it becomes somebody else's home. So for all the hard work that he did and the misery that he took, the happiness that he is getting is very, very little in that way. And we can also see, to the degree one is away from Krishna, even if he has material objects, that material objects can't keep him happy. We hear from our senior devotees that any wealth that is not born out of yajna will only give suffering. It will only give suffering. Like the Americans have so much wealth, but they are miserable. Even when I was working, my company boss used to tell me that I am earning almost 1 lakh. My wife is also earning almost 1 lakh. But both of us are so busy in our life that we have a big home, but unfortunately my wife doesn't have time to cook food. And then we have a home theater, but we have no time to watch there. And then the maid servant who has not studied anything, she is getting all the benefits of the home. So we can see that to the degree one lives his life materially, the example is very simple, that just like if the child is adamant to surrender to the father, the mother will also not give him all the required things. Same way, why will Maya or material nature give the living entity who is rebellious against Krishna facilities for happiness? So they may have objects, but they may not be satisfied with that object, or they may not have time to enjoy the objects in that way. So we can see that. And the other thing is also, in this world, every part, we have heard from senior devotees, that every part is designed in such a way that it gives more suffering than happiness. That is the way how material body is made. Many times Radhesham Prabhu gives the example that this hand, the only way this finger can give us happiness is when we have a itching sensation. We can probably satisfy our itching sensation. But the way it can give misery is unlimited. It can get crushed, it can get cut, so many ways. So like this, everywhere, if you look at material body, it gives more suffering. And the main question is, how much can we enjoy and how long can we enjoy? So even if, let us say, our mind is currently convinced that gulab jamuns will keep me happy, one gulab jamun will keep me happy, second, third, fourth, it is only going to become eventually misery. So we cannot enjoy. The material body is like that. So Prabhupada is saying, you want to enjoy? Okay. So enjoy on the spiritual platform where your enjoyment is unlimited. We are all Sachidananda Vigraha actually in the spiritual constitutional position, where we can actually unlimitedly enjoy. But now we are trying to enjoy with the covered senses, with the material body, and therefore the enjoyment is going to be limited. And we can also see within our lives that take examples from the great advanced devotees. In this world, any sane person, he will give up one lower form of enjoyment only if he is getting a higher form of enjoyment. So in the On the Way to Krishna book, Prabhupada writes, do you think the yogis are fools going to the Himalayas and torturing their body and not getting any happiness? No. Ramante yogino anante satyananda chidatmane. So they are getting a higher form of happiness. Sukham atyantikam yattat buddhi grahyam atindriyam. So we can see that if these pure devotees are able to happily serve Krishna and give up all other forms of enjoyment, that means the happiness that they are getting is certainly more, because they are not insane people. In fact, they are the most intelligent people guiding humanity. So that means there should be some element of truth that way. So we can try to go for a higher level of happiness. And in this world, all these are temporary, just like the example given is when a child may for some time be very happy building some sand castles and saying that this is my home, that is my home. As soon as a wave comes, everything is vanished. Or as soon as time is up, father says, come, we'll have to go to our real home. The child also leaves away this imaginary creation of his and comes out. So Prabhupada was saying in the lecture that yes, we should know that we are just building some sand castles, and why should one, the child is never attached to the sand castle. He knows it is just a play and he gives it up without any attachment. But why are we not understanding that whatever I'm doing here is also like a sand castle? We think this is my actual home and we forget the real home, like that. So, and another thing that we can learn is, because it is temporary, we should tolerate whatever difficulties are there. So in the train, for example, sometimes for a 1 hour journey, we may start fighting. I need the window seat. This is my seat. Why have you occupied my seat? Like that. But if a person knows this journey is temporary, he may think, okay, anyway it is temporary. Why should I make a big fight? Same way if you see, Kali Yuga is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. Many times quarrels are there for very, very petty things which are temporary. Prabhupada writes in the first canto that for the tract of land which was not even possible for cultivation, people are having wars. So same way within our devotee circle, we may fight also for insignificant things. So we have heard in Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was saying in the Bagh Bazaar temple, they were fighting for rooms. And in Ramanujacharya's place, even for who stole my kopin, they were fighting. And then Dhanurdas glory Ramanujacharya eventually showed. Although he's not attached to material things that way. So we can see that because this is temporary, let me not fight for petty things which are this one. Then one may think that, okay, yes, this is temporary, I shall try to adjust here. Prabhupada is saying even that you will not be allowed to, because it is ashashvatam. After some time, if you think I'll compromise, kabhi kush, kabhi gam, I'll be happy here, that also you will not be allowed to. By the moment you get adjusted to one situation, Maya will eventually change that situation. Now you may think that, okay, I'm going to adjust here. But eventually, immediately, suddenly, the job, suppose the company boss is not cooperating. Okay, I'll adjust to this boss. By that time, suddenly we get a pink slip, and then we have to go to another job where new type of thing is there. So on the whole, we can learn that material world is a place where one is repeatedly given a lot of suffering. But the nature of Maya is, Maya has two potencies, prakshepatmika and avaranatmika. It kicks us nicely, but it covers us, and we think that no, I am happy only, like that. Prabhupada many times said that even when a person is in the ICU, you ask him, how are you? He will say, yes, I am fine. That is avaranatmika Shakti. He's being kicked in the ICU, but he's still feeling I am happy. So to the degree we realize this is a suffering position, I do not want to be here, our eagerness to go closer to spiritual path will be, or towards spiritual advancement will also increase. And we should have that urgency. Prabhupada once was walking along with his disciples in a chilly, cold morning. And then all were wearing chadar and blankets. So Prabhupada asked, actually one devotee asked, I think, anyway we are all eternal servants, we can go to Krishna. Finally we all have to go to Krishna. Why so much urgency that in this life only we have to go back to Krishna? So Prabhupada was asking, imagine I remove all your clothes and make you walk on the chilly weather. Anyway, after some time sun will come. So why should you wear all this chadar and other things? So then he said, but Prabhupada, until the sun comes I have to suffer. Yes, exactly the same way. Until you go back to Godhead, you have to suffer. Why should you unnecessarily wait for so much time? Eventually everyone after many lives will be taken, but an intelligent person will try to reduce his suffering. So we can also pray to this one. Once Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj said, one healthy way of gaining blessings by reading Bhagavatam is by praying to the personalities of Shrimad Bhagavatam. So we can pray to Devahuti also, that just like you are getting an eagerness to get out of this great delusion, kindly bless me and let my ears also open up and my heart open up to the instructions of Guru, which are present in abundance, but currently with a closed heart I am not able to take advantage of that. So in that prayerful mood we can seek the blessings of the acharyas. And this shloka also is somewhat similar to the Dhruva Maharaj section. Dhruva Maharaj also says, when he fought against the yakshas, the demigods have stolen my intelligence. So here also Devahuti is saying, Lord, you have stolen my intelligence. So there also, I remember hearing one lecture. There in the lecture, towards the end of the lecture, Radha Gopinath Prabhu was asking Radhanath Maharaj. Actually, Radhanath Maharaj was asking Radha Gopinath Prabhu, are there any questions? Then Radha Gopinath Prabhu, in a very humorous way, said, the demigods have stolen my intelligence. I don't have any questions, like that. And Maharaj gave a very deep purport to that. So Maharaj said, yes, Radha Gopinath Prabhu, for you who you think you have lot of intelligence, demigods may come and steal you. But for me, I believe I have no intelligence. The only intelligence that I have is the intelligence of my Guru. So there is no chance for demigods to steal my intelligence. So in that, Maharaj gave a clue on how one can remain free from, how one can always remain protected in Krishna consciousness. So to the degree we say that I am not going to use my own independent intelligence to decide what is right, what is wrong. Rather, I am just going to borrow the intelligence of the Guru, who is a Trikala Darshi, who can see past, present, future, everything. To that degree, then all these other people, Maya Shakti, cannot steal my intelligence like that. So, so these are some things that I wanted to share. Please forgive me if I spoke something inappropriate and beyond my realization, and bless me that I will be able to also advance in my spiritual life. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. I heard it from Radhesham Prabhu's one class, I think.